to Smokey Dave Presents. In today's video, we're gonna make us a whole pot of gumbo. Dude, my apologies to Stale Cracker. Alright, in your traditional gumbo, there's usually two styles. It's a seafood, where you have something like shrimp, maybe scallops, and usually some kind of fish. Now, there's two ways to do the fish. You use a fish like this. This is a flounder. And flounder's it's soft fish. It's gonna break down into the soup and give you a nice seafood flavor, but you're not really gonna have many chunks of flounder. You can use a denser fish like catfish or something like that if you want some pieces in there. Typically scallops and shrimp are thrown in. I don't have any scallops here today. The other tradition, of course, is your land food version with your chicken thighs and your andouille sausage. But we're gonna mix it up a little bit. I'm gonna leave out the fish, but I'm gonna bring in the shrimp, and we're gonna do the three meats. The holy trinity of meats. Yes, we're gonna do shrimp. We're gonna do of course, our double smoked andouille. And of course, we're gonna smoke these thighs and the shrimp. And now, the holy trinity. Celery. Peppers. We'll point out this is not a mirepoix. There is no carrots in gumbo, at least not in proper gumbo. And finally, of course, onions. Now let's prep those veggies. Now we're going to cook the skins off these peppers, and the way we're going to do that is we'll put them in this pan. We'll coat the outside of the skin with olive oil. I'll just use my hands for that. And then into the oven at about 400 degrees. And we want the skins to just start turning black. And then we'll put the top on, let it cool down, and the skin will peel right off. Now I'm going to say something a little controversial here, as I display the most essential ingredient in gumbo, which is okra. Now there are those who will say, you don't need to put okra in a gumbo, and to them, I say, if you don't put okra in your gumbo, you didn't make gumbo, you made stew. But that's an argument for another day. Now I've got about 2 pounds of okra here. Normally, I would have probably gotten about 4 pounds for a gumbo of this size, but that's all they had at the store. I bought all they had. Anyway, I'm going to chop these up into about 1/4-inch pieces, as you see I'm doing here. And I want to say something about the okra. It has this gooey stuff in it, and that's what turns some people off. But that gooey stuff gets cooked out and makes the gumbo thick. Now, we can also add gumbo filet, which is ground up sassafras leaves, to thicken it as well. But the essential part of making gumbo is using the okra to thicken it up. And it is delicious. Well, our peppers have cooled. As you can see, they've shrunk substantially. And the nice thing about it, now they are going to be hot still, but see how the skin just comes right off? We don't want that in our soup. It kind of has a texture of cellophane. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be eating plastic wrap when I'm, eating soup. Now I'm going to peel all of these bell peppers. And I'm also going to pull the stem and most of the seeds out and just put the flesh in the bowl there. And then I'll cut that up to be added to the soup. Now, one thing you want to keep in mind, these are already cooked. We don't want to overcook it, so we'll add that near the end of the soup making process, or gumbo making process to be more accurate. So let me get that done here. And there it is. Everything we need. And I'll pour in that luscious juice as well. Don't want to lose any of that goodness. Now, getting back to our smoked ingredients, we got 4 things that we smoked here. We got our andouille sausage, we've got our smoked bone broth, we got our smoked chicken thighs, and of course our smoked shrimp. We're going to be putting all of these in, but before we do that, I'm going to cook up the chicken thighs, and I'm going to put the andouille in a frying pan, get a little char on it. So let's get started with that. I'm preparing the thighs, which had the skin removed before they were smoked to promote better smoke penetration. And now I'm removing the bones and any extra bits of fat and cartilage. Then I will cut them up into strips and place them on the baking grid over a shallow pan to catch any oils and grease. And this will go into the oven at 400 degrees until the chicken is just cooked through. Now, I'm not throwing any of those bones or bits of cartilage and fat away. I'm going to save that in a large gallon bag in the freezer for the next time I want to make some bone broth. Now, I'm going to put a link to my bone broth video if you're interested. Looks like our chicken is done. So we can pull that out and get those chopped into smaller pieces too. Well, things are moving quickly now. We got to get this andouille cooked up. We want to just get a little color on it. So we're going to throw it in a cast iron pan here with a little olive oil. And we just want to get a little darkness on the outside and bring those extra flavors out real quick. So here's our ingredients that go into the soup broth itself once we get that all set up. After we do the roux and we pour in our smoked bone broth, we'll be adding these spices, starting with the equivalent of 6 cloves of garlic. So you can take 6 cloves and smash them. I just use my pre-canned garlic that I really like because it's just easier. 4 teaspoons of paprika. 2 teaspoons cayenne pepper, 2 teaspoons oregano, 2 teaspoons of thyme, 2 teaspoons garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of black ground pepper, and 1 teaspoon of gumbo filet. This helps thicken the soup. The okra will also do that. We're going to put both in. And finally, 2 bay leaves. And that's it. The roux. Now we'll prepare the roux, perhaps the most important part of the gumbo, as this is where its distinctive flavor comes from. Now, roux is just a mixture of fat and flour that is cooked until it is a smooth golden brown, about the color of a tarnished penny or the top of my stove. So I'm going to mix this up and get it cooking, and that's extremely important that you continuously mix it, because if it burns, it'll ruin the whole batch. You got to throw it all out and start over. You certainly don't want a burned roux at the base of your soup, or it will just taste like it's burnt. We're going to carefully mix this in. I've got it at high temp. Remember, this roux will cook at about 350 to 400 degrees. So continuous stirring is absolutely required. I used about 1/4 cup of olive and 1/4 cup of avocado oil. As a blend, olive for the flavor, avocado to withstand the heat. I then just added flour until I got a smooth, thick consistency. While we're making our roux, over in the other pot, I've got our 12 cups of broth. And that's going to sit and come up to heat so that when we pour it in the pan with the roux, it won't cool it down too fast. The roux is ready and just starting to go from a smooth roux to a little bit lumpy and has the right color, so let's add our celery and onions so they can fry in that very hot flour and oil mixture. Now, we'll let them fry in there, for about a minute or so. And once we've done that, we'll add our broth. Now remember, this roux and vegetables, they're about 350 degrees above boiling, so be careful as you add your broth because you could get explosive boiling. So just be on the lookout for that. Of course, the broth will cool it right back down and will start to boil rather quickly because we already heated it up, and that's what we want. We need it to cook, simmer with the top on for 10 to 15 minutes. And then the rest of the gumbo making process is almost complete. All we have to do is add the rest of our remaining meats and vegetables, and we're done. And now as our gumbo base comes to a boil, it's time to add in all of our soup seasonings that we prepared earlier. We'll just dump those in and mix them in thoroughly, make sure there's no lumps, and we'll let this simmer for the next 10 to 15 minutes until the celery is perfectly soft. All right, let's put this gumbo together. The time has finally come, my friends. I'll add the shrimp first, the raw smoked shrimp, and give it a stir. This shrimp's going to cook almost immediately in that boiling soup base. And after that, we'll add our skinned and cooked peppers. I'll give that another stir after I add them in. And then we'll add the rest of our meats. Our pre-cooked chicken thighs, which I've cut into smaller pieces. And of course, our andouille sausage. We'll wait a bit on that okra, as again, they cook very fast and will fall apart if they've cooked too long. You may have remembered on the chicken thighs that I took off the skins. Well, we're going to do something with these skins. We're going to put the skins into a bag with some seasoning and some flour, and we're going to deep fry them. And then we'll take the hard, crunchy skins and we can crumble that over top of the soup along with some Smokey Dave Parmesan cheese and some green onions or scallions. I got some coconut oil here at about 375 degrees, as we want to stay heart healthy and keto friendly with our deep fried chicken skins. The skins are lightly coated with some flour, cornstarch, salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and they cook up nice and crispy in just a couple minutes, so have a paper towel ready to soak up any extra grease when you take them out. And there it is, folks, deep fried chicken skins. Don't they look delicious? I tell you what, they sure are. They might not make it to the soup. All right, folks. It's time. Got a nice rolling boil. Gonna throw in our okra. Gonna throw in our filet powder. Give this a nice stir. And we're gonna turn the temperature down a little bit. Don't want it to burn on the bottom. This is a very thick stew, soup, whatever you want to call it. And we just want this to simmer and continue to cook for probably another 15 to 20 minutes, at which point it's ready to serve. However, there are those who say that the best time to serve a gumbo is 24 hours after you've made it. Well, I don't think I can wait that long. And there it is, our delicious gumbo served with rice, crispy chicken skin, garnished with scallions and possibly a little smoky Parmesan cheese. A delicious way to end your day. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this latest edition of Smokey Dave Presents, and I hope you enjoyed cooking gumbo with me. And perhaps there's something in this you can take away for your own gumbo adventure. But at any rate, I just wanted to say thank you for spending your time with me here. And don't forget, it's no joke. Everything's better with smoke.